Greetings, folks. Second video of the day. Obviously, this one a little more casual, as recorded on our phone. So, today was our big Revell auction. There is a bidder and a declared winner. So, the folks at a company just founded about 60 days ago called Blitz 1813 GmbH, which is just Blitz GmbH for all intents and purposes, which is a limited liability company in Germany, which appears to be a offshoot of a German investment company called Quantum Capital Partners, has purchased the Revell global lot. So people who are looking for a separate sale for Revell of Germany are going to be sorely disappointed. They bought the whole thing, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels, as it were. So this group of gentlemen, since they are managing it separate from the actual Quantum Capital Partners, bought all of Revell, the Revell here in the United States, as well as all of the shares and basically all the, it's a long, complicated story of how Habeco set up, how they bought Revell of Germany. Basically, they bought the outstanding share of Habeco UK, which owned all of Revell of Germany. So they bought all of Revell US tooling, all of Revell US websites, Revell US intellectual property, contracts, licensing, the whole ball of wax, and they also bought the controlling interest of Habeco UK, which of course owns Revell of Germany. So they own it all now. So the questions will be in the coming months, what they're planning to do with it in its entirety, and what their plans are. If you look into Quantum Capital Partners, they specialize in buying distressed assets and turning them around, which in the, at least short term anyway, should be good things for all of us, because an investment bank does not, or an investment firm, it's not really a bank, an investment firm would not buy a company that they don't think that they could turn a profit on. Now, whether or not, because it's sort of separate from the actual capital partners thing, basically, let me break this down to how it's separate. The people who are listed as the contracted purchasers are the CEO and the managing director of Quantum Capital Partners. Down on the dotted line where everybody signed today on the purchase agreement, the CEO and the head of finance are listed as the managing directors of this Blitz company. So these three guys, and whoever they decide to hire on, are effectively the owners of Revell now via this holding company that they created 10 days after Habeco declared bankruptcy. Sounds like they created it specifically to buy Revell, if nothing else. So that, of course, does sort of raise the possibility that perhaps, rather than a bunch of German investment bankers, we happen to find a number of well-off German model builders who have bought Revell. That would be the best case scenario of all, right? Because otherwise, you kind of have that lingering worry in the back of your head that, you know, bean counters bought Revell. And we've had that happen before, and it didn't work out particularly well. So, I mean, that's initial thoughts. There's a court hearing tomorrow afternoon, Friday, for the actual purchasing agreement. So far in the filing paperwork that came in today, there has not been a purchase price that I've seen. I believe it was basically $18 million what they were both being sold for the last time a floor, basically the floor reserve was set at. So I assume it's somewhere in that ballpark. It appears that the Ford licensing issues have been rectified, so that in theory shouldn't be an issue going forwards. The licensing objections that exist at this point are mostly to do with the RC stuff, General Motors, you know, licensing for the Habeco RC stuff and things like that. Italeri with a licensing issue, you know, regarding being, you know, Habeco being their distributor in the United States and things like that. So none of that stuff really affects Revell. So It's, I would say probably, I'm going to say it's an 80-20 on my personal feelings about this. 80% being hopeful, 20% having a sense of impending dread. Only because, like I said, we've had bean counters in charge of Revell before, during the period of darkness that affected all U.S. model companies, right after, Racing Champions, of course, bought Round 2, and then the private equity firm bought Revell and nearly killed it, and then, of course, went on to successfully destroy Lindbergh. I guess happiness abound that Round 2 didn't buy it, if nothing else. It'll be interesting to see who Blitz brings on to manage Revell, if they're going to leave the U.S. management team intact and the German management team intact. If there is not, a little leverage from the former employees of Revell of Germany in this purchase. It's kind of odd for three guys to just scrape together a whole bunch of money like that for a company. If it's not a front, basically, for, they're providing the initial capital to make the purchase, and, there's another group of people behind it that will pay the money back, kind of thing. So, I don't know. Well, that's all pure speculation on my part, but that does, the fact of the matter is, a new company in Germany owns all of Revell now. So I guess we'll see where we go from there. I believe, from looking at the forums today, like I said, there's a court hearing on it tomorrow. Objections to the sale have to be filed by the 20th. And then sometime in mid-May is when the official thing has to be taken over, I think. I think it's... I would have to go back through and reread the exact wording of it, but it was I believe mid-May, or actually May, I think it was the beginning of May, when, basically Revell, Habaco can no longer use Revell names, can no longer use Revell marketing, they have to turn over the websites, they have to, basically, Habaco has nothing to do with Revell ever again, and it'll be up to these guys in Germany to see what they're going to do. So, if we could make Revell the German version of Tamiya, I know right now there's already 10 people cringing, going, "Oh my God, it's going to cost too much. Revell Germany kits cost $30." But, beyond that, I'm happy with it in its initial appearance. Like I said, what are they going to do? I guess we'll find out. So, anyway, guys, that's a quickie. We'll keep you up to date as things go along. But right now, Revell lives on, at least temporarily, in the hands of the Germans. See you guys on the other side.